All right. Hello, everybody. Can anybody hear my voice at the moment? It seems to be an issue with the live stream. Not sure what's going on. A little baffled at the moment. Trying to figure out what happened to the sound and the music sound. I know something just updated on my StreamYard here, so I don't know if that took everything off. Um, yes, hello. So that means you can hear me. Okay. I don't know what happened there. Boy, well, what a great start, huh? What a wonderful start to the evening. Hello, Jorge, brother Jorge, Prof. Gal. Um, what an awkward start. But good evening. Okay. Well, I don't know what happened there. I downloaded some music there off my playlist and tried to add it on to the StreamYard, and I noticed that there was a new media asset thing on my StreamYard. So, well, I'm glad that awkwardness happened, and that's why it's live. So you can't record it and you can't edit it out. You can't change it. You can't, you know, go back and pretend like you put on a perfect video all the time. I did not put a perfect situation there. So, hello, brother Jorge. Great to see you, or see you there. Prov Gal, I see you there too. The song, by the way, that you didn't get to hear was a acoustic version of "Leaning on the Everlasting Arms." So maybe next Saturday that'll go up there. So man, it got me all thrown off. I guess I'm gonna have to roll with the changes here, roll with the punches, so to speak. So that's good. Brother Jorge, I hope your week is going well. I hope things are going well this week. A couple of things happened to me this week was pretty neat and exciting, and also other things a little weird. One of my favorite. Why did I just hit there? One of my favorites. There we go. Oh, I didn't even see you say there we go. All right. Well, it's great to have everybody aboard as usual. It's another week down. We're all out there in the week. Myself and the kids love that hymn. Yes, I play a very shortened version of that on the guitar myself. Not very well. I haven't played in a long time. I think it's in G and C. I think basic chords. I can't remember. It's been so a while since I played. I used to play it all the time, but well. But great song. But it was a different version of it. More of a southern version of "Leaning on the Everlasting Arms." Some are piano, some are this, some of that. I tend to lean towards more guitar style. That's just who I am. I enjoy that a little bit better. But yeah, so we got another week down. As Christians, we're out in the world again, going to our jobs, working for a living, witnessing where we can, talking to people the best we can. Really, again, being a light. Being a light, as I always say, is it can be a witness in and by itself, along with other things that come along. Was able to get a few things out this week, so that was exciting. Met someone on my route, which I thought was interesting. Who was? I'm not trying to get into all the Christmas stuff right now. Obviously, you can see all those videos, and I think I just said for the 30th time. I do that sometimes. I say until I get to the next sentence. Don't know why I do it, but I do. But so when I say anti-Christian, I was delivering to this a couple of oxygen tanks to a patient customer, however you want to look at it, and I noticed as I drove up there were no Christmas decorations out there. So, and I found it a little surprising because everybody's got their different Christmas decorations out, or whatever form, the blow up nativity scenes and all that, and little penguins and all kinds of stuff. And but this house was just bare, and I thought, oh, maybe it's just someone who's not able to decorate their home. They're not, somewhat, bed bound or whatever. So they weren't. So I come to the house and I saw a couple of scriptures on the wall, and it happens down here in the Bible Belt. There's a lot of scriptures on people's walls and so forth. Not that I'm saying it's a bad thing, but it's common to see down here. And I happen to look over at the nightstand. So for me, whenever I'm somewhere, I'm always kind of scanning my environment so I know how to approach them or to deal with them or have a conversation with them to make it a good, a pleasant time for me and them, and to find something we could talk about that makes the visit not a stale one, but a nice moment. And I look down and I see the Geneva Bible. And I'll tell you what, the Geneva Bible in large print. So, like me, that gentleman has a hard time reading as well, and I need to move on to some large print Bibles myself. You would think with all what I got, and I'd have large print, but I do not. So I look down, I see the Geneva Bible, and I looked, and for me, if you know me, I'm pretty blunt and I'm pretty straightforward. And I'm pretty to the point. I don't mince words. Not that I insult anybody or attack people or anything like that kind of bluntness. I'm just, matter of fact. So I asked him, I looked down, I was like, is that the Geneva Bible? He said, yeah. I go, you read the Geneva Bible? And he goes, yeah, I've been reading the Geneva Bible. I'm like, I says, can I ask you why? If you don't mind me asking you, why? He goes, well, because I want to read it and see how it compares to, the King James Bible. I'm like, and I've been meaning to do that and study side by side. I've done, I've gone into Geneva and all the other ones and compared them here and there in different verses, but I've never just sat down and put them side by side. I've done all the other ones, NIV, ESV. If you watch all my old stuff, I've done all that already. Got a lot of stuff. I still haven't even finished the ESV videos. I did a whole series on that, and I wanted to continue, but I took a break from that. I did that about 6 months ago or so, maybe 7 months. I don't know, maybe less than that. It's been a while, but I'm gonna get back to those. But anyways, so I begin to talk to him, and I said, "Okay." I says, "That's great." I says, and so again, being a blunt person I am, some might find me rude, but I ask questions. I says to him, "I noticed you get no decorations outside." He goes, "Yeah, we don't celebrate Christmas." And so that piques my interest. So I'm like, okay, this guy's got a Geneva Bible, and this couple is very nice people, by the way, very, very nice, very welcoming, and you'll find that with a lot of Southern people. I guess that's why they have the word Southern or the term Southern hospitality, except for us Northerners who come down and mess that all up. But so he says, yeah, we don't believe in celebrating Christmas the way people do. I said, okay, all right. Now, for me, this was an open door to have this conversation. Any moment I can find to talk about the Bible, to witness to someone if I can, to have a conversation, it's great. And I thank God all the time. Like, man, thank you, Lord, for putting this in front of me and having this situation open up. So it's pretty cool. And and anybody can jump in anytime. I won't cut anybody off, so I said, what do you mean by that? Like, are you talking like, the commercialization of it and all the ridiculous buying of things and stuff? He goes, no. He goes, I kid you not. He looks at me with a deadpan face, how we want to look at it. He goes, Jesus wasn't born at Christmas. I'm like, amen. I says, you are correct, sir. You are absolutely correct. My glasses on. I was trying to read that up there. You are absolutely correct. Jesus was not born at December 25th. And he says to me, or she says to me, she goes, do you know who came up with it? I says, I do. And I says, do you? And he says, well, that was done by the Roman Catholic Church. Well, he said the Catholic Church. I always refer to the Roman Catholic Church. I said, yes, they did. Yes, they did back in 336 with Bishop Mark and Constantine. I was rather impressed because you don't see it very often. There's very few people that are willing to just be open and honest about the fact that Christmas wasn't there. They don't celebrate it because it's wrong. They don't know when in September. They couldn't figure that out yet. And I said, don't worry about it. I can't figure out the day either. And it's not a big deal. But we do know it's in September. And I did explain to him the whole idea about the whole idea. It's not idea or idea. About the census taxes for the census that was taken with Roman archives being between August and October. And September lies in there. I guess they didn't know that part. And I was like, oh, that's fine. but it was great. And to be able to talk to somebody about that on the route was pretty exciting. So I was pretty, why the Geneva Bible, and I was very stunned by. I really didn't get more into why. He just says he just wanted to read it because he hasn't done he's already read the King James Bible. He wanted to read it. I didn't get further into it and grill him further on why. Did he find that the King James wasn't sufficient, or did he think there was errors? And I didn't get to that part yet, but I know that I'm going to see this guy again and have a conversation with him on my route. So I know the conversation's going to be there, and I look forward to it. But they were very, very nice people, wonderful. Had a great conversation with them, and I look forward to that. So it's amazing how God can just put things out there. And this is the great thing. And I've harped on this forever, and I continue to do so. When you are out there working, guys, I'm telling you, I'm sorry, women are watching too. I apologize. I know that some women have to work because of circumstances, what has happened and transpired and in their lives. So I don't put down any woman who works because of their circumstances, but I'm almost willing to bet 99.9% of the time, a God-fearing woman would rather not work if they didn't have to, if they weren't put in a situation where they had to. So I don't put them down for that. But man, when you're out there, you have an opportunity, guys. Not only can you just go to a park and hand out gospel tracts, in your daily life, you have opportunities that might come along that you may share the gospel, talk about the Bible, witness to someone, different levels of things that happen, build relationships, find someone who might be like-minded like yourself and communicate. You'd be amazed at how many people are searching, how many people are on a journey, how many people are looking different things. I was talking to you about the painter I was talking to. Yes, I do remember that. He called Christians who celebrate Christmas hypocrites. I've heard that for many years. Lost man who knows Jesus wasn't born in December says Christmas is not biblical. Yeah. His grandmother was Baptist. I wonder if she was Northern Baptist. You might have told me, and I don't remember. Northern Baptist or Southern Baptist. There tends to be a little bit of a difference. Or Southern SBC Baptist, Free Missionary Baptist, IFB Baptist, New IFB Baptist, Free Will Baptist. But isn't that weird that they have so many things? It's like Roman Catholicism. They have Episcopalian Catholic, Lutheran Catholic. They have Sedevacantist Catholic. They have different branches, so to speak. Yeah, I've heard that for a long time, and I've said that for a long time. How are you to? Maybe you could pull it up in Peter. What's the scripture I'm thinking of? I had it and I lost it. We call it be a peculiar people. How are we peculiar if we're out there in the world doing the same things the world? I made a video a long time ago. What's the difference between a Christian and an atheist that walk into a movie and watch the same thing? There's no difference. Call yourself a Christian all day long. I mean, you can call yourself a Joel Osteen or Oprah Winfrey Christian, but you're not really Christian, born again Christian. I think there's a big deal on that, and he's right because Now I want to be careful when I say this because normally people like Stephen, you're never careful about saying you say what you want, and that's true. But I'm not insulting or denigrating or putting people down who have been brainwashed, for lack of better phrasing, or have just gone along with this tradition for year after year after year. But Christmas is appeal to the flesh. Christmas is wrong. I don't care. I don't care who says it's freedom of liberty, or rather Christian liberty. It's not. It's just not. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure it out. And in fact, more people know that it's not. If Jesus wasn't born at Christmas, but yet they continue to promulgate these celebrations because of the flesh of, well, I want my kid to smile. Most people go to Christmas because of their kids. And I'm not putting anyone down. I don't know how we're getting into Christmas, but I'm not putting anybody down for that. I'm just saying that's what happens. I've done it too. I'm not innocent of that. We've all done it. If you're a parent, you've done it. And you're worried that your child is going to be heartbroken and things like that. My kids aren't. My kids have no problem with it. They know that it's a pagan holiday. They know the history of it. I like when people go, well, they'll name off certain winter solstice ones that aren't on December 25th, missing the whole point of 9/26 and all of the idolatry and all of the, and they try to pick a few things here and there. I agree with that. Hey, good evening, sister. It is good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Thanks for being here this evening. It's been a while. But my kids don't miss it. And no, I'm not a JW. I'm not a Seventh Day. I'm not all these things like that. What I am is as close to biblical as can be. You can see I'm kind of holding it together a little bit of tape there. So yikes. I'm not any of those things. I just follow the Bible the best I can. What I find interesting is men. I always say men because they're supposed to be in charge of things for the most part. Who say they hold dearly to this Bible. And they will follow everything in this Bible. If it's not in this Bible, they will not do it. But Christmas comes. It's a whole different ballgame. Good to see been filling shifts. All right. Well, I hope you're doing well. I know that filling shifts. That means you're better. You're after the surgery you had a long time ago. I'm glad to see that you're able to fill shifts. Well, if you wanted to fill the shifts, I don't know if you were called in to fill shifts, but nice. But that means that's a good thing. That means your body's better. You're healthy. You're healed. Lack of better words, but it's good to hear. It's good to see. But let's not get wrapped up in all that kind of stuff. It's plain to see. Yes, people called off. Yeah. You're gonna have a lot of that coming up because I don't know if the reason they're doing is because of the holidays, but that does happen. Filling shifts. In fact, I have Christmas Day off normally, like most people, but the driver that's on call, because somebody always has to be on call to deliver what's called O2 setups, where you just bring oxygen tanks. But anyways, I don't want to be boring you. But I told him that I would take his Christmas Day because I don't celebrate Christmas, so I'll work that day. It's not a big deal to me. Ain't a holiday to me, so not a big deal. He does. Now that's another thing. We are sometimes afraid to tell people that we don't celebrate something or we don't participate in something, and because we don't want to look bad. And I get that. I'm not insulting anyone. I get if you're new at trying to attack that and you don't have that outgoing personality, so to speak, I guess it's tough for some folks to do it. But where I work, and I've said this before, I've made it pretty clear of my stance. Now, they think I'm weird. There's a comment made the other day. I thought it was kind of funny. I made a comment back, not a negative comment. And they were saying, oh, yeah, that's right. Steve doesn't do parties. I says, I do parties, but not if it don't celebrate God. But and I walked away. And that was my comeback for that. But anyways, the other day, someone brought in, what do you call them? The bags there, goodie bag thingamajiggies, and there was a couple items inside, and you don't call them gift certificates anymore, gift cards for a Sonic burger. So I told that person, I says, I appreciate your thought, but I cannot in all good conscience take this because I'd be a hypocrite, which I would. Be a hypocrite. But sometimes we do that. We take things and like, well, I don't want to hurt their feelings. And for me, I thought about this afterwards. You can almost think to yourself, well, did they care about your feelings when they know you don't celebrate? But you don't want to judge people too fast on it. They may not have thought about it all the way through, and they're so used to doing something. People know you're different. You don't have to be this grand gesture things. You don't have to dress a certain way. You don't have to try to be a character. You don't have to be some sort of persona. You can just be honest with people. And it'll fall where it falls. I have no problem with people I work with not liking me. Now, I'm not saying I want to cause problems. All I'm saying is just be who you are. Be true to who you are. Be true to the Bible. Be who you're supposed to be as a saved human being. Don't be a hypocrite. Don't be a phony. Don't tell people here one thing and then you go out and do another thing. I think that's really important. That's why I wish I could meet more people that are on here. I think it's there's an accountability that comes along with meeting people and seeing them and see where they live, see how they are, see how their children are, or if they have any children, maybe they have grandchildren, whatever it may be. And internet's a great place. I enjoy these times. You get together and talk, but sadly there's too many people on the internet, and they're ignoring the possibility of fellowship in the world or coming across people out there. We miss that personal touch, and I wish we'd see more. I know my wife and I are already planning a road trip to Texas. I'm hoping the spring, maybe by summer. I've been fortunate to meet a brother up north and talk with that person before when I was up there. So I'm blessed with that. And if I could meet more people, I would. I do not understand these people who don't think that they can. Like, well, I can't, meet people, and I don't have the place for it. I don't have an office. I don't have a building. I don't have this. I'm like, that's such a bunch of nonsense. And I've said before, if you're ever in Eastern Tennessee, you give me an email. You send me an email. You can't give it to me, but you can send me an email. And if I'm available, I will certainly talk with anybody at any time. That's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to be in touch with the brethren whenever we can, the brothers and sisters in Christ. But boy, I just went on this whole thing there. I don't know where we're going on that one. I think it started with Christmas and ended up with the hypocrite, the painter who calls people hypocrites. And he's right, by the way. I'm not even arguing with him. Christians who say one thing but do everything the world is doing, how is that not a certain level of hypocrisy? Now, I get it if you're younger and you don't know any better. That's one thing. You're learning, you're new at it, it takes you time or years in some cases to be better at these things, but we're just not supposed to be the world. We're not. So lack of better phrasing, we are not supposed to be in the world. We're not supposed to be doing any of this. None. And it's a shame. I blame preachers. I blame pastors. Those who are, two people are for pro-Christmas. One are those who have children, or who just had children, or anything like that. And two, money. And I don't mean just the churches you go to out there. There are people online getting donations. They accept donations and stuff like that. You have a lot of ministries or people who call themselves ministries out there who take money. Well, if you start telling everybody you're against certain things, well, then the money starts drying up. That's just the way it goes, unfortunately. I am blessed here where I never have to take money. Now, I did have a donation channel at one point in time on Give, Send, Go, and it was up very briefly, and I took it down. My conscience, again, same thing. I'm like, I can't take money from people. I don't need the money. Well, I mean, we all need money, but I don't personally need money. And I was taking the money for gospel tracts, and that's what I wanted. And I didn't get much out of it. I was very blessed to get like $50 off there, and I'm very thankful for that person all day long. But I thought, no, I don't need money. I work for a living, make ends meet. I do what I can do, get gospel tracts. I tell people, you want to give me something, send me gospel tracts. I'll get them on the road. But because we're supposed to be working for a living. And I will say that forever. No preacher, no pastor, unless they are of a certain age, you start hitting them 60s, I'm okay with them being in the full-time ministry, as in being a full-time, not working situation. But Yeah, below 50. Yeah, you need to be working. Below 60, you need to be working. What kind of man, what kind of mentor? You're doing a lot of this mentoring, but you're not actually doing. You're not doing any of those things, and you're living off of other people. You're living off their dime. That's all there is to it. You're living off their dime. I get offended, and this is when I do get offended, because I see people who wish they could work, but they have one gentleman is paralyzed, but you have people who have been struck down with real life illnesses. Is not the best word to use, but they wish they could go to work every day. They wish they could work. They wish they could be a man and they could support their family. Doesn't mean they're not a man because of disability, but their mentality thinking that they wish they could do more. And then you got some young people who don't. And that's a shame. That is an absolute shame. Disabilities. There are people with real disabilities, not fake disabilities, people claiming certain things, but real disabilities, that they can't do certain things. It doesn't make them bad. It just means they're not capable of doing certain things that other people can do. And you got able-bodied men who are on the internet, who become 20-year-old pastors at your local church. And that is a shame. And that is a shame. And anyone who teaches them to do that or doesn't teach against it, they're shameful. And I hope that they repent from that. I don't care what church denomination they belong to, or if they don't belong to one at all. You should be ashamed of yourself. Now, like the guy down the road where I'm from here, who owns the farmland all around us, he doesn't work a job, so to speak. Well, how do I phrase it? He owns the farms. He makes money off of all the cows and the grain and this and that and the other. Yeah, so he, in a funny way, he's not a Christian man. I've met the man before. He's a decent Southern guy, but he's not Christian. But he is tilling the land. What we used to be able to do, 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 300 years ago. But a small guy like me with his, 12 chickens out here, and then raise some goats and stuff like that, I'm not going to make enough. I could put 20 goats back there, 12 of those chickens, maybe a few more. Maybe I get one cow. I still, in today's world, I'm not going to make my money off of that. I'd have to be really below my means. But he is tilling the land. That is an actual tilling the land. He's a farmer with the big, large equipment out there. He's got him rolling through the field. That's a guy who's tilling the land. And that used to be something that could be done at biblical times. We can't do that now. You're not. And some of these small town farmers have a hard time around here. They have to get subsidies from the government. They have to go to the government for a handout because they can't do their own farms. So there's not tilling the land like there was years ago when the Bible taught tilling the land. It just isn't the same as it once was. You can't make the money like you could. You can't provide for your own like you should. And unfortunately, those days are gone. I wish those days were here, and I wish we could be there. And you get into certain debts. We don't have a lot of debts here. We don't have much of that, but cars. We don't have any car debts or anything like that. But it's just, unfortunately, and I wish I could just go out and farm and till the land, live off the land, provide food for my family off the land, pay my bills with everything off the land. But you can't. You just can't do it. So if you can't till the land, then you're going to have to get a job. And you're going to have to work for a living. You have to provide. Now, me, I don't like handouts. I don't like any of that. I'm against that. Years and years ago, I slept in my car for about a month and a half. And that was a long time ago, but I refused to take any handouts. I mean, we're talking going back 30 years now. And work a day. Please don't take this as being bragging or bragocious. I'm not saying it for that reason, but I worked my tail off, and I showed up at these work days, try to get jobs, try to get another one, get any hours I could, and eventually I got out of that car, got a little efficiency apartment and down the road there in Ayer, Massachusetts, and well, not that anybody knows where Ayer, Massachusetts is, but Ayer is where Fort Devens is. It's Shirley, Massachusetts. But anyways, if you're from that area, you might know. I don't know, but I worked. I didn't accept anything. I didn't get, even though I could have qualified to get food stamps then, I never took food stamps. And I'm not insulting people who are needed to raise their children and I'm not saying that. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying that an able-bodied man needs to get the bootstraps up and go to work. Take whatever job you can get, whatever it is. Because I hate to be old-fashioned, but it does build character. A man who works, and think of this. If you're a mother, a father, a grandparent, you're a role model. They look to you. They see what you do. Ayer is a nice area now? Are you kidding me? All right. Brother Jorge knows Ayer. It's up off of 2A up there near Shirley. Wow. I think the Max prison is, I think it's still Max up there in Shirley. Shirley Max has a prison up there. Oh no, is it Max? It might be minimum. I think they have what do you call it there? Work parole or work programs out there. Amen. Thank you. Ayer is nice. Yikes. There used to be a pizza joint. Now I'm going off track. There used to be a pizza joint up in Ayer, up by the gas station, and right near there, right by there's a railroad tracks over there. I think the railroad tracks are on that side, and it was owned by Chinese people. I'm not trying to be racist. I'm just saying it was weird. It was the only pizza place I've ever been into that had Groton's nice too. Yeah, Groton's small actually. So Groton, my boy, I know way too many towns. My younger sister, who I did the eulogy for, Brother Jorge, I might have talked about her before. I don't know. Sometimes I talk about her, sometimes I don't. My younger sister, not the youngest sister, but my sister was, well, if she was alive, she'd be, I think, 2 years younger than me. A year and a half, 2 years, something like that. Younger than me. And she had cerebral palsy and actually worse stuff. She was blind. She was mute, and she couldn't walk. The only thing she could do is hear. So a lot of people thought I was bad when I was kind of glad that she passed away, because I thought to myself, now she'll be with all of her abilities. That's just a family part of me, a brother thinking that. But yeah, she was in a holdout there in Groton called Children's Extended Care Center. I think that's the name of it, Children's Extended Care Center. After my mother couldn't really take care of her as much, she had to put her in that home, unfortunately. It was just too much on my mother. I remember my mother being very sad. But my mother would go there every weekend and bring her stuff. And I didn't visit much because I didn't like seeing her in that state. So, yeah, I guess that's selfish on my part, not wanting to see her like that. But Groton is beautiful out there. There is I think there's like a what they call a sanctuary out there, like a wooded area sanctuary in Groton. There's a place out there called, which is the weirdest name, called Blood Farm. I think it's in Groton, Blood Farm. I remember passing by that all the time. It was weird. But, wow, I know way too many towns. You name a town, and I feel like I've been in, the Northeast anywhere, up in that area. My wife and I were just talking about Maine today, actually. She'd been in the lower part of Maine, and I remember spending some time up in Van Buren, Maine. I remember one summer I was doing hay bales, and I was I remember the guy offered me gloves. Said, "Hey, you want to wear some gloves?" Well, I don't need any gloves. He said, "Okay." He didn't warn me, and I said, "Okay." And so I went. Basically, by the end of the day, my hands hurt. They weren't the big, giant, round ones you see down on the big farms. They were the small, square ones. But still, those hurt. Just trying to get them up on the wagon. Ow. Ow was all I got to say. I remember canoeing the St. Johns Valley River up there. That's right on the border of Maine up there. That was that same guy that had me doing hay. Took me out canoeing up there. He said, "Hey, you want to check out the St. Johns Valley River?" My aunt had a place up there. They bought this weird little building, and they tried to do a vacation Bible school. It was terrible. It just that did not work out at all. But been way up there in Van Buren, Maine. So that's and if you ever look up Van Buren, it's way up there. It is way up. It's in the top of Maine to the right-hand corner, right on the Canadian border right there. But and I'm going on about that. But yeah, a lot of things going on there. But we are a mentor, as I was saying earlier. Our kids are going to basically imitate what we do. Our grandkids are going to imitate what we do. What we do and how we act and how we approach life and how we are in the everyday world is what they see. So they're going to imitate, they're going to mimic, and they're going to take on those traits and those qualities that you have. So if we're not teaching them to be hardworking individuals, going into the world and being a light to everyone we can around us and be able to be strong and share the gospel and we were just in a store today, my son and I, Alex, we were at a little local coin store, and the woman said, "Oh, are you excited about a woman named Carolyn, a very nice lady." But she was while I was talking to Daryl, Carolyn was talking to my son, and I heard her say, "Oh, something about Christmas." I didn't hear the whole thing, and all I heard my son say is, "Oh, we don't celebrate Christmas." Man, we need to be bold and without hesitation, without compromise, that child, and I'm not trying to brag about him, I'm just saying children in general are pretty honest. We need to be that. You hear it all the time, how children speak the truth, and we wish we could be more like children. After all, we're supposed to have the faith like child does. And I was very proud of him. I told him later on that evening because he had my wife had been talking to him at supper, and I asked him what she had said, and she was basically, "Hey, are you looking forward to the Christmas break for Christmas?" And he said, "We don't celebrate Christmas." That's where that came from. So I was very proud of him. I'm very proud of him that he stood for something, and he knows why Christmas is not of God, and we shouldn't be celebrating. Remember, we can't use evil for good. That's not how it works in that sense. So I wish we all could be that bold and not worry about the fallout and how many people may not like you, or and if that's going to be the case, then they were never with you. They were never on your side in the first place. I have seen there's more hatred coming from the pro-Christmas crowd. When you see some of these videos out there, and how could you miss them? I'm making them too, these videos, but everybody may. I guess I'm like the world when I'm like, I make Christmas videos. They're all making Christmas videos, but a lot of the pro-Christmas, if you go through them, there's a lot of hate and like, how dare you? People are trying to have family time and this and that. I'm like, okay, you could have it any time of the year, but it shouldn't be a division either. I've said this before. We're not supposed to be hating each other, calling each other names or heretics or anything like that. And you're going to hell and all these things. Come on, man. That's immature, childish behavior. That's someone who is either not grown up or physically in age or grown up maturity-wise. That's, it's okay to stand for something. Whether you're right or wrong, if you stand for something, you stand for it and you move on. That's okay. It is what it is. But if you're going to start calling everyone names, and that becomes the pro-Christmas crowd, unfortunately, the pro-Christian Christmas crowd, Those who are professing Christians who celebrate it, and then they want to ridicule you for not doing it because they do it. Well, you do what you want. Listen, freedom and free will. You have the free will to do whatever you want. You have the freedom to do whatever you want. It does not come without consequences, but you can do any of those things. However, it's not a liberty, a Christian liberty. You don't have a Christian liberty to sin or participate or partake in sins. You do not have the right to use Christian liberty for maliciousness. And that is biblical. So, it's Christmas. But I enjoy being able to work. When I will look around me and I see people who can't, and I see opportunities that I come across people that perhaps in some small way that I can help or do something, anything, to share the gospel, to point in the right direction. It may not happen on the first time I visit. It could be the second time or third time. I don't know. However God leads me, however the Spirit leads me in that moment, that's what I'll do. I just keep an open mind to whatever the Lord wants me to do. Name calling is very immature and not becoming of a Christian. Yeah, that is true. Some like to say that they have righteous anger when they're calling out people's names, but that's not a righteous anger when you're denigrating, insulting, and so forth. Sometimes I don't want to call somebody a name or use this as a name calling, but sometimes they're idiots. They themselves look foolish. They look bitter, angry, and yes, they don't look like Christians all the time. I think they lack the ability to use discernment and when to be aggressive in their speech to others. They tend to just be aggressive all the time. I think sometimes they harbor sins themselves that they don't want exposed, so therefore they attack others, which is not what we should be doing. If you have sins, then you should go to the brethren, and the brethren should pray with each other, talk about these things, and help one another get out of those things. I mean, we need the Lord, don't get me wrong. What I'm saying is we need to be there for one another, help each other do these things. But I think a lot of people don't feel like they can turn to the brother or turn to the sister because they feel as if they're against them, or they may look at them in a different light. No, we all have issues. We all have things that we wish we could be better at. And there may be things that we've accidentally done. Some people backslide a little bit. Well, we help that brother get back on track or that sister get back on track. We don't call them names. We don't call them heretics. We don't call them idiots. We don't call them devils or sinners or all these other things. And therefore, those people themselves, I would venture to say that they are themselves the sinners or the Jezebels or the heretics and stuff like that. You could easily put that on them, unfortunately. And it's sad because it's lacking not only in the church buildings itself, but anyone who has an online ministry or any kind of online platform, like I have here is an online platform. But you won't see me just randomly attacking people who don't agree with me. I don't understand where in any biblical passage that would lead one to believe that that is what you should be doing. It's just not there. It is. I mean, and it's sad because I think some people get hurt. Some people are broken over it. Some people feel as if they've lost some type of fellowship, and it's awful. I think it's a shame. It's a disgrace. I think people like that shouldn't even have a ministry. And then I would even venture to say, do they actually have a ministry? And what ministry is that they have? Because it's not the ministry that resembles the Bible in any way, shape, or form. Backbiters, backstabbers, slanderers, gossips, liars. They're all going to suffer the same fate in hell. And that's the truth of the matter. I'm sure people may not like that. Maybe will attack me behind my back. Go for it. All of us at one point or another will have people that talk about us behind our back and try to gossip. Who cares? Unfortunately, some people get sucked into that vortex and they feel as if they've done something wrong. Nah, you didn't. Well, you might have, maybe, I don't know. I don't know your full story. But anyone who does those things, man, that is not of Christ. That is not of the Bible. That is nowhere is that biblical. Nowhere, no how. And if you're watching this now or later down the road, don't ever feel like you're the bad person. No, they're the bad person. They the bad person. They the bad person. That's proper grammar right there. That's your grammatical syntax right there. But no, any ministry that you just see nothing but hate and attack, that's not of God. No way, shape, or form is that of God. And somebody once said, "Why don't you call out people if you see it?" And this is my response to that person. I'm like, why do we need to always do that? Why is the first step is to call people out and call them names and this and that? Our first step is to talk with those people and have a communication to see if things cannot be fixed or you can't bring something to their attention. We don't do that. We just go right to, well, now today's world with everything out there, we got what? Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Rumble, YouTube. We got everything on the side. Now we just make videos. Now we just make hate videos now. Like, oh, who talked about me? Who said what about me? Oh, I'm going to make a video. I'm going to make a video and exposing whoever it was that talked bad about me. What are you, an 8th grade? Listen, that's my problem with today. There's a lot of Christians doing this, by the way. Everybody's exposing one another. Everybody's got some dirty secret to get on somebody. Everybody's got a sin they found. Everybody's calling out everybody. Everybody's rebuking everybody. And, oh, that guy said what? What did he say? Oh, I'm going to make a video of that. Are you in 8th grade? Are you in middle school? Are you an adult? I'm 51 years old. Man, why do I say that age out loud? Well, I'm old to some, young to others. So I'm 51 years old. That's middle school behavior. If you're a man of God, okay, or a woman of God, you're a brother and sister in Christ, and you still have a middle grade attitude, you ain't reading this right. I'm sorry, you're not reading it. You're picking out what you want and you twist it to how you want it. It's like my wife gave me a great line years ago, and I was jealous. It was not bad jealous that I didn't come up with it first. It was a great line. She says, sometimes people treat this like the buffet table. And I might be paraphrasing. And she's right. People treat this Bible like a buffet table. I'm going to take what I want, and I'm going to leave out what I don't want. Well, spoiler alert, I hate to break the news to you. The Bible's not a buffet table. You can't just pick out what you want and make it work in the way you want it to. Invent things that aren't there. It doesn't work that way. So we have a lot of immature people who want to twist the Bible to fit their little narratives and so forth. Come on. What is going on? Stop. Grow up. Be grown-ups. Be born again Christians. Bible believing born again Christians, as which you claim to be, which I claim to be, which we need to be, and follow this the way we should. We don't. I should probably pick another Bible to use, since this cover's all getting ripped off. Yikes. Got to grow up at some point spiritually. If you're in a ministry of any kind, and I don't usually try to call myself a ministry. I don't slap labels on myself. I don't say I'm a preacher, I'm a pastor. And, I one point did have this channel named differently and had the word ministries in it. And I just didn't feel good about it after a long time. I'm like, that's just, to me, it just felt being precocious. It felt like I'm a ministry. I'm like, not supposed to be. Who I am is Brother Stephen. That's who I am, Brother Stephen. And you are Sister whoever. Not that your name is whoever. I'm just saying, Brother Jorge. Yes. Am I an elder to some? Would I be considered an elder? Yes. I've never claimed the word elder. I've never, I don't point out that I'm an elder, and I don't try to act like an elder, like I'm better than you because I've been around longer. No, I mean, but having that experience and that maturity and that age and that wisdom of life does come with being an elder. You know, it plays a role in a lot of things, but I don't pull that card. I don't pull that rank. I don't do any of that. And I never will. There are men out there who do. They got to do what they got to do. They have to answer for whatever they do. They're not going to answer to me. So there is nothing I can say or do that'll ever compare to what they will face. And remember that for when people attack you or they talk about you or whatever it may be, there is nothing that you can do. There's nothing they can say to you, but there's nothing you can do that God isn't going to do to them. Their rewards will come. Don't worry about it. You move forward, you move on. Don't lose faith in your walk. Keep going, keep learning, keep looking for others that might be like you, others who are on the same page as you. Don't give up. And some of these things can make you stronger in the long run because you're dealing with, and it does lead to a sense of maturity as well. That's that experience over time, the things that you've experienced along the way, the foolishness that you've seen, the fools that you've dealt with. You can chalk that up to experience, a life experience that happens. A lot of these things God uses with us. He allows us to go through these certain things at certain times. I'm never concerned. I have no issues of what I've ever been through because it led to where I am now. Now, at the time, can I say, I can't believe I went through this? How could God let me do this? How could God let me go through it? First of all, God doesn't always let you go through. God doesn't, I'm trying to get the right words here. God doesn't make you make a decision. God lets you make the decision. Okay. You have free will. Like we talked about this earlier. You have free will and you have the freedom to do whatever you want to do. But it does not come without consequences. But I also do believe that the Lord kind of steers things sometimes. He goes, okay, I let you go through what I needed you to go through. And now you're being refined to be who you are now, to deal with the things that come along. I think I've been personally, and I think I've said this to Brother Jorge, I think for me, I feel blessed that I've been through a lot of different things. And I'm blessed that I've never been part of any sort of, especially online, some sort of group or organization or cultic type mentality channels that exist out there. I have no skin in the game. I have not been hurt by anybody on the online. I've not been hurt by anybody in the church buildings. So I feel like I'm able to deal with these things with a good conscience, with a clear conscience, with no issues. Got no skin in the game. And we all need to approach everything as if you're fine. You don't have to worry about any of these things that come your way. You just stay the path, stay what's right. Thank you. Thank you. The Spirit of God is speaking through you to encourage me about people speaking behind my back in ministry. You're welcome. I'm glad I'm glad this has been helpful. This isn't about, I always say this channel is like we the people for born again Christians. It's all of us are here for one another, and people like you said, people they're children. They're children. They're little. Now I'm name calling. They're just petulant little children. Don't let that get you down. Don't let it bother you. Move forward. Move on. Find people like-mindedness. I don't mean find an echo chamber, but find people who aren't going to put you down because you were reading Romans chapter 2, verse 1 differently. I'm not, there's nothing in that. I don't have that written down for any particular reason. I'm just using a random verse. We're here to help one another, edify one another. I think what is the title of I think tonight, well, every Saturday night is about fellowship and exhortation. Man, that's missing, isn't it? You don't see the exhortation much anymore, do you, in this world? In these so-called Christians, you see rebuke and call him in a heretic. But here's the problem we have with that. I think it gets overlooked. But what do you do when the heretic is calling you heretic? When the actual heretic is the one saying it? What is that old? I hate trying to use a secular stuff, but Saul Alinsky said in the 70s about racism, things like that. If you call somebody else something long enough that you actually are, you can defer it onto them. So usually there are people who are living in sin, who have a lot of sin, who don't want to face up to that sin, fix that sin. They are now projecting that onto you. Not that any one of us don't have a sin in our lives, whether it be we get angry too quick or things like that, or we get frustrated too quick, or there are lots of different things that we're dealing with all the time. We're always dealing with something. But there's always somebody dealing with something worse than you. I was having that conversation with somebody the other day because I happened to be at a stop. And these folks were living in squalor, just absolute squalor. And it broke my heart. I'm not going to break into that fake evangelical crying that they do in their speeches. But I almost wanted to cry. I pulled off down the road. It was pouring rain, so that was good enough reason to pull over too. But I just sat there and I was just so sad. And I had a combination of sad and happiness at the same time. I was so sad for those people, but I was thankful and happy to the Lord that I have what I have. And it's a reminder that someone else is always going through something worse than you. And you are not alone in whatever you're dealing with in this world. But there are a lot of Christians who act like they're the only ones dealing with something, and then they act like your problem is not as important as theirs. Well, all of our problems are important to each other as brothers and sisters in Christ. All of our problems are equal in the eyes of God. So we all have problems that seem monumental to us, but won't seem monumental to someone else. But we can help each other get through those things that we think are monumental. That is what brotherly love is about. That's what the love of the brothers and sisters is supposed to be about. Not about attacking one another, not about tearing each other apart, not about making expose little videos. That's not what we're supposed to be doing. And are there times that someone may have to call someone out? Absolutely. I don't have an issue with that. But let it be the right time. Let it be the right place. Let it be led by the Holy Spirit and not by your vindictiveness or whatever your personal beliefs are. I tell people all the time, I don't have a personal opinion or a personal feeling. I have this, and this is what I'm supposed to be doing. That is my roadmap, so to speak. The guiding, the guide that I have, the GPS, so to speak. In the modern day world, the GPS. This is the GPS. The problem with this GPS sometimes is not the actual GPS itself. It's when we turn the GPS off and we think we can read the map better than GPS sometimes. And you don't even have a paper map because I don't need the GPS. I'll figure it out. Okay. But I'll tell you what, you can figure it out a lot faster and correctly. I'm just saying. Just throwing that out there. But I see that we're closing in. I think it's an hour. I got blurry vision. It's a little over an hour. And I'm appreciating this conversation. I really am. But I tend to be long-winded. I tend to go on and on. And again, I got to keep reminding myself to put the email in here or in the other channels that folks can email me at. Because we need to have some sort of communication. And it doesn't mean we can always, write to each other all the time. And I got to do a better job. And my wife is awesome. She got me a printer finally out here, so I can write people and, type. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to write anything to anybody. I've got the worst handwriting in the world. It's terrible. When you sign a lot of things your whole life, you scribble everything all over the place. God's word is powerful and our manual for life. Indeed, it is. Amen. That is true. Yes. And by the way, all of our walk won't be exactly the same. We're not all on the exact same path. Somebody's behind. I'll take my own self. Somebody's behind me on the path. Someone else is ahead of me in the path. There's someone else better than me, and I don't mean that like better. Oh, they're better than me. They know more than I do. They're further along than that path than I am, and there's someone else further behind me. But it doesn't mean I need to hurry up and catch up to them, and I don't need to try to hurry up and get ahead of them. I need to help if I can pull them closer to me and follow in this direction. When I say follow me, I don't mean follow me in that sense, but help them along the way, as that person there in front of me should be turning around going, hey, I didn't know you were there. I didn't know you that far behind. I didn't know you didn't know that. I'm sorry that I never told you that. Let me help you. I don't know if that's a good analogy at all or not, but that's what the only one I got at the moment. We are supposed to be helping each other along these paths, or the one path, but we're supposed to be helping each other along the path. We're supposed to be there to share what we have, not keep it a secret. We're not supposed to do that. Well, I want to be smarter than others, so I want people to come to me instead of the other person. That's not biblical. Explain that to me. Tell me where that is in the Bible. It ain't there. Chapter and verse. You got no chapter and you got no verse. You have your personal feelings, your personal beliefs, your opinions, but you got no chapter and verse that says that you're not supposed to help the brother or help the sister, help the brother. Now, help comes in all different forms. It's a 20 spot. It's prayer. It's kind words. It's an exhortation. It comes in many different forms, helping someone out, whatever it may be. The greatest thing anyone can offer anybody, and it's at the lowest cost possible. I mean, we're talking. What is that cheap store there? Oh man, had a great analogy. Save-A-Lot. There's a Save-A-Lot here. I haven't been to it yet, but they're known for like really cheap prices. But what doesn't cost you a lot that you could help anybody anywhere is prayer. That is the one thing you can help anyone anywhere, anytime. It don't cost you a thing. Just cost you a few minutes of your time. Doesn't need to be lofty. Doesn't need to be high-minded. Not at all. All right. I said I was going to close this down. I apologize. All right. We're a little over an hour. But I do appreciate everybody. I always say this even in my other videos. I'm always grateful. I'm always thankful. I really am that people tune in here or even watch the other videos. I'm grateful all the time. It never escapes me that this guy here, has anybody following his channel. I'm overwhelmed by it. I'm grateful for it. And with that, I'm going to awkwardly hit the end stream button like I always do because I'm not an expert and I can't see very well. I got blurry vision. All right. With that, I said God bless. And until next week, good night.